Hey everybody, I hope you're all having a super magical day. I'm Emily Besson, is one of Mouseketeer, and I'm here today to bring you a solo trip Q&A video. So some people call me the CEO of solo trips. I've only been on one, but I like to think I bossed my solo trip pretty well. So I went on a solo trip to Walt Disney World this past summer for 2 weeks. I stayed in the Art of Animation Resort. I had the Disney dining plan, the middle dining plan, and I went to all 4 parks. I just did Disney for 2 weeks straight. I did Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Blizzard Beach, Typhoon Lagoon. I did the mini golf courses. I didn't go to Disney Springs, I'm not a big fan. I did dining in the parks, I did character dining, dinings in the resorts, I named it. You name it, I did it kind of thing. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to go over to my playlist for my Walt Disney World vlog series for my September 2019 trip. Go give it a watch, let me know what you think. But before I begin this video, if you have any other questions which I don't answer in this video, but you would like an answer to, be sure to drop them in the comment section down below. I asked you guys to send me some questions on Instagram. I'm not going to lie, I have received over 150 questions. Some of them are like kind of similar, so I'll just answer one which kind of covers like the umbrella bracket for all of the questions. And if I can't get through all of them, so I'm going to film. So what my camera does is it cuts off after 25 minutes. So when we get close to 25 minutes, I will stop filming and then I'll film a part 2 and then I'll put the part 2 up at another time. Everyone keeps asking me to film like a tips video, and it's really hard to film like a tips video for a Q&A because like I was just naturally doing things, so you kind of forget that that's like a tip to somebody else. So I feel like by answering questions it gives me like a stepping stone to then start a conversation. But like I said, if there's any questions that you would like answered that I haven't answered yet, be sure to leave them in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe. I will be uploading Disney content. I try to upload like at least 3 times a week, and hopefully maybe have a Disney trip at some point this year if all things go to plan. But let's get started with these questions. So the first question is, how did you go about meeting people to spend time with? So whilst my trip was solo, I stayed in the hotel on my own. I did most of my dinings alone. I do have friends in Florida. We were all in a group chat previously before we went, just because we happened to be friends. And a old friend of mine introduced me into all of my new friends, and then we all just hung out basically like that. We'd be like, oh, are you going to MK today? They'd be like, oh yeah, I'm going to MK, and I'd be like, oh cool, let's meet up for a few rides. So we all actually met for the first time at Galaxy's Edge opening day. We met basically like outside like Ogre's Cantina, and we all went on Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run together and had lunch at Docking Bay 7, and we all just clicked really well, and we just hung out for the rest of that trip basically. So I guess the way with regards to meeting people is through Instagram. Just if you see someone else has a trip the same time as you, or if someone's posting whilst you're in the parks, you can be like, hey, do you want to meet up? Obviously you have to understand not everyone may feel comfortable with meeting up. Like for me, obviously I was 18, I was in America for my first time on my own for the 2 weeks, and I spent it with like strangers. So I think from like a safety warning side, like my mum, she knew the people I was meeting up with, she knew who I was seeing and when, so like she knew where I was. But we'll get on with this later on in the video. But Disney is like the most safest place I have ever felt in my whole entire life. So I did feel really safe at all times, and I knew the people I was meeting up with. I wasn't just like meeting up with somebody that I've like never spoken to before, like never FaceTimed, that kind of thing. Next question is, how do you go about getting good pictures when you're alone? Okay, so first up, PhotoPass cast members are literally a godsend. They're always there at like the best locations ready to take your picture, and when they find out you're solo as well, I find that they spend loads of time with you. Like for example, I got a pumpkin Mickey Mouse Rice Krispie treat, and the cast member, like she moved from her spot to take me over to like where the pumpkins were, did like a little photo shoot. And like because I was on my own, I think because I was quite young as well, the cast members like really like took to me, and they like made sure like I got that shot. Like every single time they were like, oh, make sure it's good for the gram. They were like, oh, do this pose and this magic shot. Like they really wanted me to get the best pictures. Also, I think I still got it down here. Let me just grab it out. So I am now filming on my camera, as you can see, my phone is here. And I filmed this whole entire trip on this camera, on my phone, and with this tripod. So fun fact, if you are looking to do vlogging, you do not need a camera. You can do it with your phone. I filmed a whole entire vlog series on my phone, and people tell me they really enjoyed the vlog series, and I really enjoyed it as well. I think the quality of your personality overtakes the quality of your technology, if that makes sense. But then if you love it, feel free to get a camera. But tripods are a lifesaver. So Disney has very strict rules with regards to tripods, so be sure to check them out. I'm glad they do. Selfie sticks, they literally just block your view. And don't be that person that brings an iPad to Happily Ever After. You just don't need it. Watch it on YouTube. But these are so good because you just put it out like this. It doesn't extend, like this is the height that it is, and you can bend it around. So like I had it on like a post at one point and things like that. And then you can just pop it on the ground and do like a self-timer shot. I also know some people have tripods with a button that you can press. They put like the button in their pocket and they press to take pictures. But best things for getting pictures is cast members at PhotoPass points, and then also having a tripod and doing like a self-timer kind of thing. I got some really good jumping shots which I took on my own phone with a self-timer, so There you go. But also having friends at Disney who don't mind taking pictures of you works out really well as well. Also, as I don't know now, because obviously we've had a global pandemic, but before, like, strangers taking pictures, obviously you have to be careful with like random people taking pictures of you, but there's so many times where there'll be like a couple that wanted a picture, so they'd like take my picture and then I'd take their picture kind of thing. So you can ask other people, but I don't know if that would really apply now. Hannah says, aren't you so glad you met me on this trip? I am. I'm so glad I met you. You are such a lovely girl, and I definitely think we're going to be friends for life. Something you did which on this trip that you would want to turn into a tradition. That's a really good one. I think doing Splash Mountain at 1 AM is something I would love to turn into a tradition. So I was the last person on Splash for the day. I had a whole entire cast to myself, and it was so much fun. I think that, like, doing Splash Mountain at night time, I know some people are thinking, oh my gosh, getting soaking wet at 1 AM, what are you on about? It was really fun. I think I want that to become a tradition. I'd love to get my mum on Splash Mountain at 1 AM. I think that would be kind of legendary. The next question says, did you show up with a specific plan for the day, or did you just go with the flow on your solo trip? So I spent months planning. When I say I spent months planning, I was up until like 3 AM with my friend James, getting all my dining reservations sorted, picking the best restaurants. I had a day-by-day schedule. I was like, oh, I want to see this show on this day at this time. And it makes me thinking, oh, you're one of those kind? You're one of those kind of planners? I do plan minute for minute for minute. Do I follow this plan? Absolutely not. So I printed it all out. I had this plastic wallet, it had like 17,000 pages in. I didn't use it once. So for me, with regards to planning, I do plan like I want to see Festival of the Lion King at 11 AM on Tuesday. I'm going to be there, or square kind of thing. And then I get there and I go, ah. So I had like my 3 fast passes for each day. So I had like, I planned my days out. So I knew I wanted to do like 7 days in Magic Kingdom. And then I think it was like 3 days in Hollywood Studios, 2 days in Epcot, 2 days in Animal Kingdom. I did end up at Magic Kingdom every single day for 14 days, you see in the vlog series. So I really did just go with the flow. Like if I wanted to go to MK, I went to MK. I know like my second to last day, I went to all 4 parks and I did all the rides which I'd missed and those kind of things. So I really did just go with the flow, and I cannot stress enough on a solo trip, on a family trip, go with the flow. Do not force yourself to do things you don't want to do. Like on my trip, I look back and I go, oh my gosh, I didn't watch Finding Nemo, I didn't watch Festival of the Lion King, I didn't go on Star Tours, like I didn't watch Film Magic. Like I missed some things which I really do love, but at the time I didn't want to do them, and that's fine. Like if I want to ride Space Mountain 47 times, that is an accurate number, that's how many times I rode Space Mountain, then I'm going to ride Space Mountain 47 times. Like, Disney's always going to be there, you're probably going to go back, so really do go with the flow. Do not make your vacation be strict, stick to a plan, as you won't have fun. Like, people say like, oh, Disney planning is so stressful. I love the planning side of it. Like, I love knowing like, oh, I'm going to go eat with like Ariel on this day, and then, oh, I'm going to go eat with Belle on this day, oh, I'm going to eat with Mickey on that day. Like, I love that side of planning, and knowing like, today is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Splash Mountain, Space Mountain. Don't plan any more than that. Do not plan, oh, one thing you should plan is plan to see Happily Ever After, plan to see it more than just on your last night. Florida weather is very unpredictable. If it rains or there's a thunderstorm or a hurricane, like in my case, you may miss out. So do not just plan to see Happily Ever on your last night. But other than that, go with the flow. Do not stick with a spreadsheet. Next question says, did you feel lonely? So I did spend most of my time with friends in the end, but there were like 3 or 4 days I spent entirely solo. I never felt lonely. I was always moving, I was always vlogging, and like to me, talking to the camera is like talking to a person, if that makes sense. That might sound really weird. So no, I didn't really ever feel lonely. Like cast members were always coming up to me, like when to chat and that kind of thing. Character meets were absolutely incredible. We'll get to that in a minute because I know there's a question about that. So I never really did feel lonely, no. I also FaceTime my mum quite a bit. So I'd be like, Mum, I'm gonna go meet Merida now, and she'd be like, okay Emily, thanks for letting me know. And I'm like, so I don't think I never did feel lonely. I know that was something I was worried about, but I guess I just enjoy my own company enough. The next question is it expensive having a room to yourself? Yes. I will just say how much I paid. So I saved up for this solo trip. I did it for my 18th birthday. I saved up since I was 12 years old. It took me 6 years of saving every birthday money, any job from work, like if I got pocket money, anything like that, it all went directly into these savings. So my room in Art of Animation, I stayed in it was next to the Ursula statue, in the Little Mermaid section. I just had a normal room, I didn't have a suite, and it cost me £2,000 for 14 nights. So that is, 2,000 divided by 14. So it's about £142 a night. For an 18-year-old, that is a lot of money to stay for a hotel room, because the way that Disney do their hotel rooms, so my room was to fit 4. Obviously it was just me, but it worked out really well, as quite a few of my friends came over and had sleepovers and things. Like Rod and Ash came for a sleepover, Kelly came for a sleepover, like loads of sleepovers, because I just had this spare bed. But the way that Disney do it is they charge per room, not how many people are in the room. So for example, if they charged for just me, it would have cost me £500, which would have been amazing, but it wasn't, it was for 4, so I had to pay £2,000, which was a crazy amount of money, but it was something that I had budgeted for, it's something I had prepared for. Would I stay on site again? Absolutely, I would pay it. It is worth the money. I think there's questions about transport later, so I will get to that again. Oh, this question said, did you stay on site? If you did, was it expensive? So I did. I stayed on site for the whole entire 2 weeks. I personally, at 18, did not feel comfortable getting an Uber every day. I don't know how it works in America. I've never been in a taxi in the UK, so I wouldn't want my first taxi experience to be in the US. So for me, staying on Disney property made the most sense, because I was in the Disney bubble, cast members are everywhere, it's very safe, there's security guards, and you just get on the bus to where you have to go. I don't have to step foot into any kind of vehicle that I don't know already or I wasn't comfortable with. So there are cheaper ways to do it. You can stay on like hotels on like iDrive, you can stay in villas and things like that, but for a solo traveller, personally, I think it is safest, and you will feel safer staying on site. That is just me personally. I'm an 18-year-old, it might be a lot different if you're older, but that is just how I felt. But it is expensive, yeah. I think my whole trip in the end, so what I spent on merchandise, Halloween parties, after hours, backstage tours, food, hotel, flights and things, and that is not the flight to get from England to America, that's the flight to get from Camp America. So I was in Portland, I flew from Portland to LAX, and LAX to Florida, and then Florida to home, but ignoring the Florida to home flight. My internal flights, it came to about £5,000, which is, that is a stupid amount of money. So yes, it is expensive. The next question is best ways to save up. Oh, there we go. Okay, best ways to save up. So for me, I'm very lucky in that my parents don't make me pay to live at home. So I'm currently in my childhood bedroom, as they call it, because I'm home from uni. I don't pay rent. I don't pay for food shopping like my mum pays for it. I'm very lucky that my parents do that. I don't have a job. I've really struggled to get a job whilst I've been home. I have been looking for one, but I just can't get one. But when I was working last year, I don't buy new clothes, I don't buy new merchandise, I don't go out with friends, I don't go night clubbing, I don't spend money on alcohol, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, that kind of thing. So for me, all my money I was earning from work, like 100% of it went directly straight into my savings. So from the ages of 12, when I did a paper round, or when I did babysitting, or when I worked at Clark's in a shoe shop, or for my birthday, things like that, the money just went directly into that Disney account. I'm probably not the best person to ask for ways to save up, but I think if you really want to go, like, you have to make that like your priority almost. Like, you need to, like, you have to sacrifice other things. So like, I think if I had friends, or if I did drink, or if I smoked, or if I really wanted these new clothes or things like that, like, I would have struggled. But because I didn't, and Disney was the goal, Disney is what I want to spend my money on, it was quite easy for me to save. But it took me 6 years. It did take me 6 years. So you have to just prioritize what you're spending your money on, if that makes sense. I don't know if this is helpful. I'm hoping that it is. The next question is, how did you book your trip? So we booked directly through Disney. There are cheaper ways to do it. When we go as a family, we don't book directly through Disney, but for me, because again, I was in America on my own, I'd never been anywhere on my own before, my parents were like 5 hours behind in time zones and things like that. It was just, for me, easier if we booked it all through Disney. So we booked the hotel through Disney, tickets through Disney, dining plan through Disney. Obviously flights were separate. But it was all directly with Disney, which is probably why it did end up costing me so much. But just for me, it was all in my magic band, it was all ready to go, it wasn't going to be a stressful experience for me. So again, if you're solo, I think again, it depends on how much experience you've had as an independent person in the world, if that makes sense. So like for me, I'm not very independent at all. I very much am like a mummy and daddy's little girl, little princess kind of thing. So I'm not very independent. I am now very independent because I've been to uni, I've been to America on my own, but before I went, I wasn't. So just for like me and like my like state of mind of like, I know where everything is, I printed out all my Disney documents, I know that it's all on my Disney experience, it just made my life easier. But I think if you're older, feel more confident, you could book for like third parties, but just for me, I booked through Disney. What would you do differently if you go solo next time? I think I would honestly drag my ass out of Magic Kingdom. So I went to Magic Kingdom every day 14 days because I'm in Disney World on my own, living my dream. I love MK, but I missed out on so many amazing things and I really regret it. I wish I did World Showcase properly. I wish I did the Food and Wine Festival. I wish I did Star Tours. I wish I saw Nemo. I wish I did the Animal Trails in AK. I wish I watched all of the different shows in the World Showcase. I wish that I'd saw the Little Mermaid show in Hollywood Studios. Like, just looking back, I would have spent my time in lots of different places rather than just in MK all the time. But I'm also quite happy that I did spend 2 weeks in MK. Which restaurants did you feel most comfortable when solo? I felt comfortable in every single restaurant. So something that people find really surprising is that I actually did more character dinings than just dinings on my trip, because character dinings are really expensive. For a family of 4 that don't really care about characters other than me, it doesn't really make sense for my family to do character dinings. So this was my opportunity. I had the Disney dining plan for the first time. I was on my own. I took it and I ran with it. I did, oh my gosh, let me see if I can remember. I did Artist Point, I did Crystal Palace, I did California Grill, I did Be Our Guest like 7 times. That's why I was in MK so much. I did Cinderella's Royal Table, I did Tiffin's, I'm trying to think, I'm going like through the heads mentally in my park. Hollywood Studios, what did I do there? Oh, I did Sci-Fi Dining, I did Garden Grill, like I feel like Ohana's. I basically did every single character dining on offer other than Chef Mickey's basically. And I loved it. I literally felt comfortable in all of them. The servers, as soon as they know, so the trip was for my birthday, the second they know it's your 18th birthday, you're on your own, you're from the UK, they just absolutely loved me. Every single cast member was so incredibly welcoming. Like, they always made sure like I had like the best table, and they would always come around and they'd give me like an extra like cupcake, or they'd give me like an extra drink. Like, they were just so accommodating. Like, my whole trip was just full of so much magic, and like so many servers like sat at the table with me for a bit and just had a chat. Like, they were just like, it was really quiet when I went in September, and everyone was just so accommodating. Like, every single cast member made sure that I felt comfortable and welcomed and like all of that. The tables around me at character meets, they'd always be like, oh, you're on your own, you're like, oh, we'll take pictures of you. And I feel like as well, like being a Brit in America, Americans like absolutely love our accents. I found this at Camp America as well. The kids would go around in a British accent. They literally like, they're like, oh my god, like you're from the UK. I'm not doing an American accent ever again. That was so bad. I'm so sorry to all my American friends. Oh my gosh. But they just loved it. They just loved that this Brit has come all the way from England, and they just wanted to take my picture. So like, I would take pictures of their family, they'd take pictures of me. The cast members always come around, like the character attendants, and take pictures. But the biggest, most magical moments I ever had was with the characters themselves, because I think it can look quite scary. Just sat there in a restaurant, the other chair's empty, and I'm just sat there on my own. I spend a lot of time on my phone anyway, so I was just on my phone, but taking the experiences in as well. And those characters come over and they just love you to pieces. Dopey was with me for so long, Snow White was with me forever when we were in Artist Point, but my best character dining experience was actually in Crystal Palace. So I met Pooh, Eeyore, Tigger and Piglet. Oh my gosh, it felt like an hour with Pooh. He was just sat there. He was just absolutely amazing. Whenever they come around, they do like the parades or the restaurants, they give me like a little kiss on the head. Like, they just made me feel so welcome. And like the characters, I have had such a better experience being solo doing a character dining experience than I did on my own. So you're thinking about doing a solo trip, you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do dining experience on my own, like I just want to do quick service. Like, do those sit down meals. Like, the characters love you, the cast members will make you feel so welcome. If I go solo again, which I'm hoping to do, like I will be doing character dining, the only restaurant I felt uncomfortable with was California Grill, and that was because it was my first night. I'd spent all day with friends. This was my first time on my own in America, and I was a bit like, this is a very fancy restaurant. And then my server came over about 15 minutes in and chatted with me for so long, and just made me feel so welcome. It was my first time alone, so I was a bit like, ooh, and then I felt absolutely fine, because like all the different guests in the restaurant just start talking to you. Like, people literally just make you feel so welcome. Like, people were trying to buy me drinks. Like, it was crazy. It was absolutely wild. But I felt comfortable in every single restaurant. So I hope that answers your question. Next one says process of booking your trip. This video, I'm looking at the time, I've already been talking for 20 minutes. This is going to be like a 7-part video. Oh, I don't know how long to make each video. I'll just keep talking for a bit more. Okay, so booking your trip, the first place to look is you need to give yourself a budget and stick to that budget. In Disney, it is very easy to go over your budget. You're like, oh yeah, it's just blah blah blah, and then it adds up very quickly. Like, I was putting things on my magic band and I was like, oh my god, I've spent a lot of money. So first give yourself a budget, then look at where you want to stay. For example, if you think you're going to spend a lot of time in Magic Kingdom, maybe look at like Bay Lake Tower, or if you're looking to go more of like a budget trip, look at the All Stars, Art of Animation, Pop Century, that kind of thing. So set yourself a budget, go on the Disney website, think about how important dining is to you, and then just book it like that, really. They make it so easy on the Walt Disney World website. Like, I can't even explain like how easy it is. Then once you've booked it, 180 days out, get your ADRs, 60 days out or 30 days out, get your fast passes, depending on your on-site or off-site. This may be completely different now because I know they've changed their system with like park reservations, but that's just how I did it. But it is so easy to book a trip with Disney. The next question is, how did you survive with such little sleep? This is a good question. So if you haven't seen the vlog series, I slept for 48 hours over the 2 weeks. So that averages out, my maths is so bad, like my brain is too busy thinking about solo trips to do maths, so we're going to use the calculator. So 48 divided by 14. So I averaged at about 3.5 hours sleep every single night. I know some of you thinking, what the heck? I'm not gonna lie, when I came home, I was really ill because I was so drained. And I know it sounds like really ironic, but Disney magic is how I got through. I was on such an adrenaline rush like the whole entire time. Like, I'm a teenager, I'm in American Around, I'm in Disney World, I'm in like my most favourite, most magical place, and I just wanted to utilise all my time in my parks. Like, I was at Rope Drop every single day and I was there until park close. And when I say park close, like, I was the last guest and I was the first person there. So I was, on average, my park days were about 4:50 AM I would wake up, jump in the shower, and then by 5:15 I was out of my hotel room. I was at the parks ready to go for 6 AM as Galaxy's Edge had opened, so things were open really early, and then I would be at the park all day. I wouldn't go back to the hotel at all. I'd be at the park all day, and then I would leave and get back to my hotel room at about 2 AM. So I didn't get a lot of sleep at all, but I was honestly, I don't drink energy drinks or anything like that. I don't drink coffee, I don't have caffeine. I was on Disney magic. I was fueled by Tinkerbell directly from the source. I know that sounds so like, oh my god, but no, I honestly was, I'm not making that up. But it was Disney magic that kept me going. I was living my best life, having the experience I've always wanted to have, and I wouldn't want to change that for the world. So I really just made the most of it and made sure I got the most for like my money and things like that by being in the parks every single second of the day. The next one says, how do you keep yourself occupied in the airport and on the plane? Good question. Okay, so in the airport, so I really messed up. So I left Camp America and I stayed in a hotel for 2 days to give me a break from camp before I went to Disney World, because obviously Disney World is quite intense. My friend was flying out in the morning and I was flying in the evening, but we didn't want to pay. Well, my friend actually ended up taking us to the airport, but we didn't want to have to like go twice, so we just went once. So I went to the airport when she went to the airport. So I got to the airport at 9 AM. My flight wasn't until 6 PM. So I was sat in the airport for 9 hours before I even left to go on my flight. So bear in mind, I got up that morning so let's say it was on a Monday. I wake up 7 AM on the Monday. I then get on my flight at 6 PM. So in the airport at Portland. So in those 9 hours, my American friend actually stayed in the airport with me and we hung out. We had, I think it's like called something Express Panda maybe, something like that. That's so good. Absolutely love that. But I was just chatting to her. We did like a little live stream on Instagram and things. Then I went like through, said goodbye to her, went through the gate. And then my flight was at 6 from Portland to LAX, and then I got to LAX about 8 I think, and then my flight was at 12. So then I had like a break there as well, and then I flew from LAX to Florida, and I got to Florida at 7 AM. So bear in mind, I've already been awake for 24 hours. I then went straight into a day at Disney, Galaxy's Edge opening day. So I was awake for I think just under 48 hours, and I didn't sleep on the plane. I didn't sleep at all for all that time. And then I did 2 weeks of 3.5 hours sleep every night. So I was on some wild mad adrenaline rush. But keep myself occupied in the airport and on the plane. In the airport, I did a lot of live streams. I was just DMing my friends because they were all in Disney. I was like, oh my god, like, this looks amazing. I just played on my phone basically. On the plane, I just watched the movies. It didn't feel weird being on my own in the airport or on the plane because a lot of people do travel on their own. But in the airport, I just kept to myself. I found like a phone plug charger thing, just charged my phone. I was just sat, just chilling basically. that kind of thing. And then on the plane I watch movies. I know on my flight from LAX to Florida, the people next to me were also going to Disney and they were first timers, so I basically just waffled in their ear for like the whole entire flight, all about Disney. I was like, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. But yeah, I just kind of just watched movies, played on my phone, talk to people next to me, that kind of thing. I'm quite a talkative person, so I just like talking to anyone really, but that's how. Best thing about going by yourself would have to be that I could do whatever I wanted whenever I wanted. So if I wanted to go to the tiki room, I could go to the tiki room. If I want to stay up until like 3 AM, like nobody can tell me no. If I want to go to be our guest 7 times, I can do that. So I think the best thing is getting the choice to do whatever you want without having to please your whole party. Like for example, when we go with my family, my brother doesn't enjoy character meets, my brother doesn't really enjoy Disney, period. So to him, staying in the parks until like 3 AM is his worst nightmare. So like if I was with my family, I wouldn't have been able to have done like rope drop to park opening, rope drop to park close every single day. I wouldn't have been able to have met all the characters I did and did the things I did. So it was just, the best thing is getting to do whatever you want, when you want, however many times you want. The next question says, what did you enjoy most from the trip? Oh, good question. I think my best experience would probably have to be, I think going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party for the first time. I have dreamed of going to Mickey's Not So Scary since I was like this big, and it was everything I could have ever imagined and more. I did 2 parties with friends and then I did 2 Halloween parties on my own. I went for 4 Halloween parties. I only planned to go to 1, but I ended up loving it. I did every single character meet and greet. I did all the rides with layovers. I did some rides without layovers. I did all the treat trails. I watched all the shows, all the parades, all the fireworks. I just absolutely loved it. I'm gonna get emotional. It was just so amazing. I feel like I need to make like a not so scary Q&A as well. But just the Sanderson sisters are just everything I ever dreamed of and more. Seeing all my favourite villains on stage. I'm a massive villains gal. Like I prefer villains over the princesses. And it was just, I was like, oh my god, like I was crying. Like, I was like, oh my god, like oh my god, the Disney villains are on stage and they're singing and dancing together, like seeing them all interact. I was just dead. The new fireworks show with Jack Skellington and Zero. Oh my gosh, the little trick or treat, trick or treat, trick or treat for Halloween. It was just, oh, it was so good. And Boo to You, oh, Boo to You is the best Disney parade ever. I have never seen a parade so good. I've literally, I don't know if you can see, I have goosebumps right now just talking about this. Just honestly, Halloween in the Disney parks, especially in Florida, is absolutely insane. Also those double flavoured Starbursts that they have, love to see it. So good. I think with that being said, we're going to end this part 1 on a high. I'm just looking and I literally have about 100 questions still to answer. There's quite a few duplicates which I'm going to skip, but yeah. This has been so fun. I'm getting really emotional. I wish I was in Disney right now. Quite a few of my friends are, so I'm like, Merp. But no, this is amazing. So if I haven't answered any of your questions, be sure to check out the part 2, but if not, drop them in the comment section down below. I have a feeling this is going to be like a 4-part Q&A style video, and if you want to see more Q&A videos from me, for example, maybe one about Halloween or about art of animation or things like that, drop them in the comment section down below. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in the part 2 video now.